What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about here on a daily basis. We got a lot to talk about here in this video. We're going to talk about a couple different checks going out to Americans. One that was just approved here today, how to get them, and also actually some other checks up to $1,500, and I'll show you it directly here on the screen so you can read it for yourself in this video. So make sure to stay tuned. My wife's taking my son to preschool, and every time she leaves, baby Snowy here just cries and cries at the door for her. Why do you do that? Why do you do that? So I guess you'll be our guest star here for a moment. Also, a listeria outbreak prompts a nationwide recall of cheese sold at multiple different locations here this year. Safeway, Myers, Whole Food, and more. Here's the details on this. Michigan-based Old Europe Cheese Incorporated is recalling certain Brie and Camembert cheeses that may be contaminated with listeria. Brands subject to be recalled include Rennie Picot, Block and Barrel, Little Preferred Selection, Market 32, Charmant, and more. According to the FDA, the products in question were distributed between August 1st and September 28th and were available at supermarkets nationwide, wholesale and retail stores nationwide, including Albertsons, Safeway, Myers, Harding's, Shaw, Price Chopper, Market Baskets, Rallies, Save Market, Giant Food, Stop and Shop, Fresh Thyme, Little, Sprouts, Athenians Foods, Trader Joe, and Whole Foods. Oh, yeah, mommy's back home now. You don't have to cry anymore. You don't have to cry anymore. Yeah, I know. All right, go see her. Here is the brands you can see here. You can pause the screen here if you think you have any of these brands and or any of these type of cheese. Again, take them back for a refund or throw them away, your choice. As you can see here, there's a lot of affected items here. Yeah, there's quite a few. Actually, you can pause the screen here if you think any of these are something that you might have. With the elections coming up, we're starting to see a lot of people register for the first time, especially women. We're seeing a lot of first-time women register to vote to potentially make their voices heard. Especially with the Roe v. Wade and the abortion rights, women's choice, pro-choice, pro-life, no matter what side of the aisle you're on there, we're seeing a record amount of women show up to vote here for this midterm election. And we're seeing some results here like this. In this new polling here, majority of Americans say that the Supreme Court is, quote, out of touch. Let me know what you think here of this. Do you think this is accurate? What do you think? Here's what results say based on what people said. Here's what they said. A majority of Americans say the Supreme Court is, quote, out of touch, according to a poll by Monmouth University. About 60% of Americans surveyed say that the High Court is out of touch with the values and beliefs of the public, compared to the 34% who said the court is in touch. That's a pretty big difference. 60% of Americans said the court is out of touch. 34% said the court is in touch. It's almost double the amount of people. The overwhelming majority of Democrats polled, 82%, said the Supreme Court is out of touch with the American public. 62% of independents said the same as well. Just 32% of Republicans said the court, with its 6-2 Republican majority, was out of touch. So you can see here that actually 2/3 of Republicans think that the court is in touch, and 1/3 of Republicans think that the court is out of touch. But out of independents and Democrats both think with a supermajority that the court is out of touch. The most recent survey results come just days before the court is expected to start a new session, which is now started, actually, after the court ended federal protections for abortion by overturning the landmark case of 1973, Roe v. Wade, and included the Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization case as well. The latest polls show 54% of Americans disapprove of the job of the Supreme Court is doing, and only 37% approve. Before this, a March poll from the same Monmouth University showed an even split of 42-42 before the Roe v. Wade court ruling. So this shows what a drastic difference this has made, and how big of a difference will this make in voting come this election. See, this is, people don't realize the type of stuff that issues like this and gun rights and the economy, gas prices, inflation, these are some of the most major issues on Americans' minds. Economy, women's rights, pro-choice, pro-life, school safety, gun rights. These are extremely huge issues for Americans because these things are being decided right now. A lot of states are making the decisions right now. Now, these are not permanent decisions. These can be reversed, these can be changed, these can be voted on again. Some states are actually letting the people choose in this election on how they want to vote for abortion rights, women's rights, pro choice, pro life. Some states are actually voting on it this election. Instead of letting the congressman vote on it, they're letting the people vote on it. So that will be interesting. We have seen already. Was it one or two states? At least Kansas. Kansas voted, which is a typically deep red state, and they voted and recounted and confirmed the results to uphold and make abortion legal. So this is what the people themselves of that state decided, and women decided to basically not let the government decide for them. And again, you guys can let me know your thoughts here on this. I know that everybody has a slightly different opinion on this. It's a very controversial topic. But this is what happened in a mostly red, mostly Republican state. And they recounted and confirmed the votes and everything. So it will be very, very interesting to see what happens here with this going into this election. Now, it's not a presidential election, but for most other issues and most governors, most states, and pretty much everything else, almost everything else is up for reelection. The other thing that's not up for reelection is Supreme Court seats. Remember that there's 9 Supreme Court justices, 6 of them are Republican, 3 of them are Democrat, and they serve right now lifetime sentences, for lack of a better term. It's kind of an odd term, a lifetime sentence, but they get to serve there until they die or until they retire. So for lack, literally, it's kind of a strange term. But things like Roe v. Wade, things like gun rights or gun safety, depending on how you look at it, protecting our children, all those things, right? Even like the assault rifle ban which is really all it does is it would ban the sale of new quote assault rifles. It wouldn't take them away from anybody who has them now because it would be almost impossible to do. There could be a buyback of them. They could pay people to give them back. Um, but even that, they haven't been able to pass that because there's no Republican support. But depending on how this election happens and what falls down, they could be able to pass things like this or not be able to pass things like this in the future. We'll have to see what happens here. But I think that this is going to be a very, very big turnout for this election. The last election was the most voted on presidential election ever. And, these last two elections have been very, very close. And by the way, here there's multiple different polls here going on here, and almost all of them show the Supreme Court's approval rating sinking to historic lows, maybe even all-time lows ever, pretty close to that. You'd have to look up the history of it, but even a Gallup poll released Thursday said only 40% of Americans said they have at least a fair amount of trust in the judicial branch. And a Marquette University Law School poll from earlier found that just 40% of adults approve of the job the Supreme Court is doing. So let me know your thoughts on this. Do you think this is going to, well, it's definitely going to affect the election. How much do you think this is going to affect the election? One way or the other, people signing up to vote for pro life, pro choice. How many votes do you think that how many votes do you think this is going to affect? Let me know your thoughts here. New Jersey passes revised version of $500 child tax credits. Here is who is eligible and when. So this was just passed here last night. So again, New Jersey passes a new revised version of a $500 child tax credit. So remember that states can have their own child tax credit on the state level. You have to file a state tax return to get this. Sometimes even if you don't have income or very little income, it really depends on each state, but you can get a child tax credit on the state level. New Jersey State Assembly approved a revised version of a state child tax credit on Monday, fixing an error in the legislation that would have delayed payments for 2 years. Yikes. The legislation passed the program in June, and Governor Phil Murphy signed it into law, providing a refundable credit of up to $500 per year. Refundable means that they'll send you a check in the mail even if you don't owe the state any money. Refundable is always a good word. You see that. $500 per year for each child under the age of 6. The program was a response by Democrats to soaring costs of living and closer than expected state elections last fall. State elections last fall. I don't know about that. But a drafting error in the initial legislation meant the credit could not be claimed until the end of the 2023 tax year, and families would not get the benefit until 2024. Monday's vote by the Assembly moved the eligible tax year forward, so the credit will be available next year. The Senate approved the fix last week, so good for them. We're proud to provide tax relief to New Jerseyans right now and help New Jerseyans with the cost of living, reducing child poverty, and creating a better future. We're seeing so many different states do changes like this. Like I said, it's at least 33 states that are sending out checks like this. The program will cost the state $135 million to $156 million annually. So this is every year. These kind of things are not cheap, and this is money going directly to the people. The credit will be $500 per child under 6 per year for families earning up to $30,000 a year. The benefit decreases by $10 for every $1,000 over that until it reaches a minimum of $300 per child for a family earning up to $80,000. The tax credit is a dollar reduction on your tax bill. New Jersey has several tax credits, I believe, for individual filers, families, homeowners, and corporations. You have to file a state tax return to get this. Like I said, there's a lot of tax credits you can get just by filing a state tax return. That's why I always recommend you look into that because you're probably missing out on a lot of money if you don't. But again, you got to kind of look into this stuff. They also had a Murphy's Anchor tax relief program for homeowners and renters as well recently as well. And the list includes a senior freeze program, which locks in the property tax levels for older residents who live on tight budgets, and the earned income tax credit, also known as the adult tax credit for low and moderate income earners. New Jersey also had check the mail details on the New Jersey Anchor check benefits coming soon. This was about 3 weeks ago. More than 870,000 homeowners with incomes up to $150,000 will receive $1,500 checks in relief. These are probably going out right now, actually, because they're in the mail, they're in the snail mail. Let me know in New Jersey if you've gotten these. They're probably still going out. Maybe some people have gotten them in the last few days or getting them now. More than 290,000 homeowners, if you have higher incomes, will receive up to 1,000, or really high incomes get up to $450. But most people with incomes less than $150,000 will receive up to $1,500 in relief. Or yeah, will receive $1,500 in relief. Wow. So that's a pretty big program for New Jersey. Let me know if in the comments if you got that, if you're a homeowner in New Jersey. So let me know your thoughts here, guys. Make sure to click the subscribe button down below to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you haven't yet, it's completely free to do so. This way you won't miss out on new videos that come out here on our YouTube channel every single day. I'll keep you up to date here on all these programs coming out nationwide, on the federal level, on the state level. There's like 33 different states that have passed state stimulus checks. There's going to be even more here coming. We got the student loan forgiveness of $10,000 to $20,000 coming out for over 40 million Americans. We have so many different federal programs and state programs. I'll keep you up to date here on all of them. So make sure to subscribe. Click the like button for us. Click the bell icon after you subscribe so you don't miss out on new videos. You can click here to see my newest video on a very important date for Social Security coming out here in a few days. And here is up to $1,000 stimulus checks coming out here actually this week. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.